Yuka Royer is here. Yuka, crisis hit planemaker Boeing has reported a loss for the first quarter, in nearly 2 years as it continues to face challenges.
Well, Monty, Boeing has been building fewer aircraft than it wants as authorities in the United States stepped up checks on its production lines following a string of serious security issues. Recently, a whistleblower testified in the U.S. Congress about lapses in Boeing's safety culture. Vedika Bahal reports.
Slapped with a production cap on its 737 MAX jets by the Federal Aviation Administration, Boeing's output has been restricted since February, and the consequences are visible in its results. In its first quarterly revenue fall in nearly 2 years, the air giant's revenue tumbled to just under $16.6 billion, down $1.4 billion from the year prior. It also burned through a whopping $4 billion this quarter, over 6 times more than the same period last year. The results are still better than analysts' forecasts, given the planemaker is grappling to recover from a string of crises surrounding its 737 MAX jets. Fatal crashes in 2018 and 19 that left 346 people dead, and just this January a door plug blowout mid-flight. As well as lawsuits, an ongoing criminal investigation and whistleblowers casting doubt over the quality and safety of its aircraft.
I'm here today because I felt that I must come forward. I have serious concerns about the safety of the 787 and 777 aircraft, and I'm willing to take on professional risk to talk about them.
Also late February, the FAA imposed a 90-day deadline for Boeing to build a quality control improvement plan, without indicating the consequences if it fails to do so. In March, the planemaker announced the loss of several top officials in a management shake-up, including its CEO Dave Calhoun by the end of the year, raising questions about the real roadmap for Boeing's future. No successor has been named, but all eyes are on current COO Stephanie Pope, seen as the favourite for the job.
Boeing stocks had another rough day on Wall Street. They dropped by as much as 3% before finishing slightly better than earlier, reversing a strong rise as it saw in pre-market trade. The planemaker shares have lost a third of their value since the start of the year, Monty.
Meanwhile, Yuka, here in France, major air travel chaos is expected on Thursday.
Well, air traffic controllers here in France were going to go on strike, but that was averted thanks to the largest trade union calling off the industrial action at the last minute. But the decision came too late, and around 3/4 of flights scheduled for Thursday at Paris's Orly airport had already been cancelled, and more than half the flights at the Charles de Gaulle airport. Large numbers of cancellations will also hit Marseille and other cities around France. Some 2,000 international short-haul flights in Europe have also been cancelled, and a further 1,000 may have to reroute.
Okay, moving on. The EU has launched an investigation into China's medical devices market.
The EU suspects Beijing is favouring its own suppliers for the procurement of medical devices such as syringes and scanners, notably through a Buy China policy. Now, it's the latest in a series of probes the EU has launched against Beijing over the past few months, targeting electric cars, solar panels and trains. On Wednesday, Brussels used a new tool called the International Procurement Instrument for the first time. China's medical devices market is the second largest in the world after the United States, worth 135 billion euros in 2022, according to a report by think tank Merix, published late last year. Now, according to the report, China has increased its share of global exports in medical equipment, ranging from syringes, as I said, to scanners from around 2% in 2000 to 12.4% in 2021. If the investigation finds unfair behaviour by China, the EU can limit Chinese companies' access to the bloc's procurement market.
Recently, the European Union has frequently resorted to its economic and trade toolbox and trade remedy measures, sending a signal of protectionism, targeting Chinese companies and harming the image of the EU. The EU has always touted itself as the most open market worldwide, but what we see now is that it is gradually moving towards protectionism.
And Yuka, this is a big story. A potential ban on TikTok in the United States has now been signed into law.
President Joe Biden indeed signed into law a national security package that includes a measure against TikTok. The bill was approved by the US Senate on Tuesday night and gives the app's Chinese parent ByteDance about a year to either sell its US operations or face a ban. Now, there are around 170 million monthly TikTok users in the United States, but they won't immediately lose their access to the app. US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan stressed that the focus now is on TikTok's divestment in a way consistent with the national security concerns. The social media firm has vowed to fight back in the courts. And that's it for business.
We'll have to see all that folds out in the courts. Thanks a lot, Yuka. We appreciate it.